I walked 4 hours round trip along Da Nang's coastline to reach one of Vietnam's most famous Buddhist statues. The statue wasn't the destination. The walk was. Most people take a taxi or tour bus straight to the Lady Buddha at Linh Ứng Pagoda. 15 minutes from downtown, air-conditioned, efficient. They arrive, take their photos, and leave within 30 minutes. But I walked. 2 hours there along 6 different beaches, past fishing boats scattered across the sand, alongside a road where scooters and tour buses whizzed past me. Then 2 hours back. And somewhere between the first beach and the 67-meter statue and the walk home, I stopped trying to get somewhere and started being somewhere. That's soul-seeing. Not the destination. The walk that teaches you how to arrive. I started at Bien Minh just after sunrise. The sand was empty except for a few locals doing morning exercise. The South China Sea stretched out infinite in gray blue. This is where most tourists spend their beach time in Da Nang. Hotels line this stretch. Beach chairs appear by 8 a.m., but at 6:30, it belonged to people who live here. I walked north toward Mai Kea Beach. The sand stayed consistent. The waves kept their rhythm, but something was shifting in how I was moving through it. When you walk for an hour and a half along a beach, something happens around the 20-minute mark. You stop thinking about the destination. Your pace settles into something that matches the waves, constant, rhythmic, inevitable. The Soulseeing Peninsula rose ahead, a green mountain pushing into the sea. That's where I was headed, but I wasn't in a hurry anymore. That's the first lesson beaches teach. Arrival takes care of itself. Your only job is to keep walking. The beaches got less polished as I walked north. That's when they got more interesting. Tourist beaches are maintained, cleaned, regulated, beautiful in a controlled way. But Pham Van Dong Beach and Man Thai Beach are working beaches. Fishing boats pulled up on sand, nets drying in the sun. This was where tourism ended and daily life continued, indifferent to whether anyone was watching. These beaches weren't performing for anyone. They were working. Boats needed repairs, nets needed mending, the ocean's daily offering needed to be sorted, sold, turned into dinner. Here's what sightseeing misses about places like this. It's not exotic. It's ordinary. This happens every morning, has happened every morning for decades. The ocean provides, the boats collect, the families eat. Soul-seeing means recognizing that the ordinary is the point. That daily life continuing around you, indifferent to your presence, unconcerned with your camera, is exactly what travel should help you see. I kept walking. The beaches changed again as I reached Sun Cha Beach and Hoang Sa Beach. Fishing boats, hundreds of them, for as far as I could see. Some pulled up on sand, others anchored just offshore, bobbing in the morning swell. Traditional wooden boats painted in blues and reds and yellows, each one representing a family, a livelihood, a daily negotiation with the ocean. I've been walking for over an hour now. My legs knew the rhythm. The sun was higher. The day was starting in earnest. And then the beach ended, and the road began. The final 30 minutes wasn't scenic or peaceful. It was the most important part of the walk. Hoang Sa Road hugs the coast, heading towards Sun Cha Peninsula. Scooters whiz past me, inches away sometimes. Cars, tour buses headed to the same destination I was walking toward. The exhaust, the noise, the heat building as morning turned to midday. Every part of me wanted to flag down a taxi and just get there already. But that's exactly when soul-seeing gets tested. When it stops being beautiful and starts being uncomfortable. When the walk stops being an Instagram story and starts being just a walk. I walked alongside that road for 30 minutes. It wasn't fun. It wasn't inspiring. It was hot and loud, and every tour bus that passed reminded me I could have done this the easy way. But here's what I was learning. Presence isn't reserved for beautiful moments. It's a practice you bring to uncomfortable ones too. So I walked. I noticed the scooter drivers, sometimes whole families balanced on single bikes. I noticed my own resistant to discomfort and how quickly I wanted to escape it. And then, rising above the trees ahead, I saw her, the Lady Buddha. Linh Ứng Pagoda sits on the Sun Cha Peninsula, overlooking the entire sweep of Da Nang's coastline. The statue stands 67 meters tall, tallest statue in Vietnam, Lady Buddha. goddess of mercy, standing on a lotus platform, holding a water bottle in one hand while the other extends downward in blessing. And she's facing the sea, her back to the mountains, her gaze toward the ocean, the same ocean I'd just walked beside for 2 hours. And it was packed. Tour groups, selfie sticks, families posing. This is the test, right? You walk 2 hours to reach something, and it's crowded and commercial, and nothing like the peaceful, spiritual experience you imagined. But here's what I'd learned from the walk. Soulseeing isn't about perfect conditions. It's about finding presence wherever you actually are. So I moved to the edges. The complex is extensive. Multiple shrines, bell towers, ornate gates, and gardens. Carefully tended spaces with lotus ponds, flowering trees, stone pathways that curve between smaller Buddha figures. I found a bench near a smaller shrine. An elderly Vietnamese woman was lighting incense, bowing 3 times, placing her offering carefully. No tour groups here, just quiet worship. I sat, let my breathing settle, listened to the layers of sound. Crowd noise from the main statue, yes, but also birds, wind through trees, the distant ocean. I walked through a temple, ornate and colorful, gold accents and red pillars, intricate ceiling paintings. Inside, people move slowly, respectfully. The air thick with incense. Prayer cushions line the floor. This isn't just a tourist attraction. It's a working religious site. Actual worship happens here daily, regardless of how many people show up with cameras. I circled back to the Lady Buddha, but found a different angle. Off to the side, where fewer people gathered. And from here, I could see she's not looking at the tourist. She's not looking at the pagoda. She's looking at the ocean. 67 meters of compassion facing an infinite ocean makes sense after you've walked that coastline yourself, after you've seen the fishing boats and understood how many lives depend on what the sea decides to give or withhold. Those tourists arrived faster, but I arrived differently. I arrived having earned the understanding that the statue isn't the destination. The orientation is, what she's facing, what she's watching, the endless conversation between land and water that happens whether anyone's listening or not. I walked back the same way I came. 2 more hours, back along the road with the scooters and buses, past the fishing boats, back across the working beaches and the tourist beaches. The walk back was quieter in my head. I'd done what I came to do. The landscape was familiar now. My legs remembered the rhythm, but something was different. The walk there was about arriving. The walk back was about having arrived, about carrying something back with you that you didn't carry on the way there. 4 hours total. Most people would call that excessive, inefficient, a waste of time when you could just take a 15-minute taxi. But those 4 hours taught me something the 15-minute ride never could. The Lady Buddha will be there whether you walk or drive. The pagoda exists either way. But the walk changes you. The walk teaches you how to arrive instead of just getting there. Those tour bus passengers saw what I saw. They have the same photos. They checked the same box. But they didn't walk past the fishing boats. They didn't feel the rhythm of the waves. They didn't spend 30 uncomfortable minutes beside a road. They didn't walk back carrying what they'd learned. They got there. I arrived. If you want more videos about finding the long way, the walk that matters, the difference between seeing and soul seeing, subscribe. Hit the bell. There are more walks coming. The world is full of places you can reach quickly. Let's take the long way together.